Wow, guys, you got judges getting arrested for breaking the law. They're straight up running underground railroads for criminals. You gotta check this video out.
But first, a Wisconsin judge under arrest and facing charges accused of flouting federal law to help an illegal immigrant. Federal prosecutors say Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan allegedly helped that migrant avoid arrest by ICE officers at the courthouse. It's a bizarre case and it's still unfolding. Hello, I'm John Roberts in Washington. Sandra, good to see you back again.
All right. Good to be back with you as well, John. I'm Sandra Smith in New York, and this is America Reports. So today's arrest of a judge marks the second such case in the last 24 hours. A former New Mexico judge and his wife were taken into custody yesterday. Federal agents arresting them for harboring a suspected Tren gang member in their guest house.
For more on all of this, we are honored to have in the new U.S. Attorney.
Really quick, guys, if a judge is doing this, imagine what's going on in schools, cities, anywhere. This is way deeper and bigger than people think. And Pam Bonnie's going to say, you can't make this up. But obviously you can because they're doing all of this stuff that Trump warned us about. Let's get right to the video, man. I'm sorry to pause so early.
Attorney General Pam Bondi. It's good to talk to you, Pam.
Good to talk to you.
So let me read a little bit from the criminal complaint here. And Judge Dugan says, despite having been advised of the administrative warrant for the arrest of Flores Ruiz, Judge Dugan then escorted Flores Ruiz and his counsel out of the courtroom through the jury door, which leads to a non-public area of the courthouse. A foot chase ensued. The agents pursued Flores Ruiz for the entire length of the courthouse and ultimately apprehended him. According to this complaint, Judge Dugan was visibly angry that ICE was there to arrest Flores Ruiz, even tried to kick the deportation agents out of the courthouse.
Yeah, and to set the stage for you and Sandra, this was truly horrific. This guy was in court being prosecuted by a state prosecutor for domestic violence battery. He had beat up two people, a guy and a girl, beat the guy, hit the guy 30 times, knocked him to the ground, choked him, beat up a woman so badly they both had to go to the hospital. And John, you know, it's so rare for victims to want to cooperate. They wanted to cooperate. They were sitting in the courtroom with the state prosecutor. The judge learns that ICE was outside to get the guy because he had been deported in 2013, came back in our country, commits these crimes, charged with committing these crimes, victims in court. Judge finds out. She goes out in the hallway, screams at the immigration officers. She's furious, visibly shaken, upset, sends them off to talk to the chief judge. She comes back in the courtroom. You're not going to believe this. Takes the defendant and the defense attorney back in her chambers, takes them out a private exit and tells them to leave. While a state prosecutor and victims of domestic violence are sitting in the courtroom.
Wow.
You know, Madam Attorney General, great to have you here, and thanks for coming back on America Report. So we remember these words of Tom Homan, the border czar. This was March 17th, and his message on these judges who apparently are trying to get in the way of this administration's efforts. Listen.
Trump said the system was corrupt, and now the system is actually arresting itself. You can't tell me that he was wrong at all. Like, I don't know why you would say that. You don't really need any new laws. You just need the old ones enforced more by people that aren't secretly working for the other team. Let's keep going, guys, because at the end of the video, you're going to see more from Tom Homan. Let's see what this is about.
I'm proud to be a part of this administration. We're not stopping. I don't care what the judges think. I don't care what the left thinks. We're coming.
So when you see these judges trying to obstruct your efforts to make this country safer, what is your message to them?
We are going to prosecute you, and we are prosecuting you. I found out about this the day it happened. We could not believe, actually, that a judge really did that. We looked into the facts in great depth. That's her picture up on the screen, Hannah Dugan, who is now in custody. You cannot obstruct a criminal case, and really, shame on her. It was a domestic violence case of all cases, and she's protecting a criminal defendant over victims of crime.
In fact, she just had an initial appearance in court. There's also this other case coming out of New Mexico. Judge Joel Cano and his wife were arrested for harboring a TDA member at their home. The alleged TDA member had been picked up by law enforcement, and now he and his wife were picked up and arrested. And you say that you believe, as the Attorney General, that the person that they were having living at their home was a truly potentially bad individual.
Listen.
Yeah, that's the judge up on the screen now who got arrested. Yeah, his name is Ortega. He is a known TDA member, So he comes through Eagle Pass December 2023. He's living in our country. January 2025, ICE, they get a tip. Tom Homan's done a great job. Our FBI did a great job on this case, too. They get a tip that he is living with a judge and the judge's wife. So they have him arrested first on immigration charges. A Judge Damian Martinez releases him saying that Judge Cano has a good BS meter and wouldn't let just anyone live on his property.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the associations with this violent Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua, and this person that they harbored in their home, he was showing signs through clothing, we were told, tattoos. There was evidence through voice messages and text messages of his association to TDA. So what charges will Cano and his wife face, if any?
So Judge Cano, soon to be former Judge Cano, got his charges were just unsealed. He's charged with obstruction. He admitted post Miranda. He took one of the TDA members' cell phones himself, took it, beat it with a hammer, destroyed it, and then walked the pieces to a city dumpster to dispose of it to protect him. The wife also is charged with destroying evidence. Sandra, not only that, this TDA member, and he had on a necklace that said kill, something about death. He had tattoos all over him. He also had on his cell phone pictures of two decapitated victims, decapitated, gruesome photos, and he was sending them out, and whoever he was sending them to was sending back saying, hey, you need to be careful. You shouldn't be sending these. You shouldn't be texting these photos out. Not only that, these two, the judge and his wife, gave him assault rifles that belonged to their daughter. That's what they're charged with. In the criminal.
You literally can't make this up. Come on, man. Giving them guns, phones, destroying evidence. A quick food for thought. If the judges are corrupt, who's left to protect us? Who's left? Because maybe Trump wasn't so wrong when he said, I am your retribution. Maybe this is what he was talking about.
Criminal report affidavit. He goes to a shooting range with these assault rifles, with a suppressor, with other known TDA members, and they're shooting. This is the last person that we want in our country, nor will we ever tolerate a judge or anyone else harboring them.
Let me, if I could, Madam Attorney General, come back to the Wisconsin case and Judge Hannah Dugan, because in allegedly letting the perpetrator and the attorney out through a non-public exit and allowed them to get out in front of the building, we had a situation where we've seen that I know Tom Homan was complaining about in Colorado, where there would be no transfer of a defendant from a jail to ICE custody on a detainer request in a way that was orderly and protected public safety. They would dump them off in a parking lot, and then ICE would have to chase them around with the DEA or whatever, or FBI, and pick them up. This ended up in a foot chase in public sight. It says here, a foot chase ensued. The agents, and this was a DEA agent and an FBI agent, pursued Flores Ruiz for the entire length of the courthouse, ultimately apprehended him near the intersection of West State Street and 10th Street. So the judge apparently has created a situation here where you have a public foot chase. And we all know that, while sometimes they can come off without incident, they can also turn into very dangerous situations.
John, that's exactly right. She put the lives of our law enforcement officers at risk. She put the lives of citizens at risk. A street chase, which is absurd that had to happen. But yes, she put a lot of people in danger. That judge did it. So did the other judge. Judge Cano is charged with. They were allegedly giving him assault rifles, AK-47s, AR-15s, with a suppressor, a known TDA member, letting him go to a shooting range to refine and perfect his shooting skills.
Madam
What's
Attorney
happened to our judiciary is beyond me.
Yeah, so when the American public hears this and they think these were once upstanding people in their communities and their professions, and they put it all on the line for this, I mean, have you dug into their motive? Like, what inspired them to carry out these acts and harbor criminals?
They're deranged is all I can think of. I cannot believe, I think some of these judges think they are beyond and above the law, and they are not. And we're sending a very strong message today. If you are harboring a fugitive, we don't care who you are. If you are helping hide one, if you are giving a TDA member guns, anyone who is illegally in this country, we will come after you and we will prosecute you.
If you're wondering how bad and corrupt the system was, judges are now being arrested, not for bribes, not for corruption, but for actually protecting illegal immigrants. It's looking like there isn't Republican or Democrat anymore. It's people who protect the country and people who protect criminals.
My source tonight has spent decades working on immigration enforcement, serving as a top ICE official under President Obama, and now serving as President Trump's border czar. Tom Homan, welcome back to the show. It's great to have you. We heard from President Trump today, essentially telling reporters, talk to the lawyers when he was asked about Judge Boasberg's ruling that probable cause exists to hold officials in criminal contempt, potentially for violating his orders. Do you think that any of your colleagues have violated orders here?
One second, guys. I just want to let you guys know this guy, Kilmar Garcia, and which is weird because his name is Kilmar, but they're only calling him by his last name because they don't want that publicity around his name. But he's here illegally. They picked him up near MS-13 gang members, and the dude's a freaking criminal, and he beats women. Come on, man. Let's keep going.
No, I don't. I think we follow the judge's order. I think we'll let that litigate in court. No, DOJ is fighting that in court, but I don't think we did anything wrong.
And so you're not worried about any of the conversations when it came to Judge Boasberg saying turn the deportation flights around, and yet they continued to make their way to El Salvador?
Well, you know, I think the information shows those planes were already in the air in international water, as far as I know. So I don't think we did anything wrong. According to his written order, I think we did everything by the numbers.
And Siri, you're not ultimately worried here that anyone will be held in contempt or anything like that as they continue this fact-finding investigation overall on this effort?
No, I'm not concerned about it. I mean, fact find all they want. I think the evidence is clear. I think DOJ's made a strong case, and we'll let it play out in court. I mean, as I sit here today talking to you, I don't think anybody in the administration did anything wrong. I don't think we've actually violated a court order.
So we have two judges here. That's Judge Boasberg's ruling that we found yesterday that the president was asked about. The other judge here, the federal judge in Maryland, Judge Zinnes, has been criticizing the government this week for what she says is doing, quote, nothing to return Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the United States. Are you personally aware of any steps that have been taken to facilitate his return to the United States?
Look, I think he's a citizen of El Salvador. He's in El Salvador. He's home. He's an illegal alien with a final order of removal.
Yep.
He's a MS-13 member, which is now classified as a terrorist. So we removed an illegal alien, MS-13 member, who has a final order of removal issued by an immigration judge to his homeland.
So should I read that as to say nothing has been done to bring him back to the United States? That's what it sounds like.
I can't speak to everybody in the administration. I can just tell you what my stance is, and I think we did the right thing. I think he's where he should be, and the order of withholding that everybody keeps talking about, order of withholding is you set aside because he's a designated terrorist, which order of withholding is meaningless. I believe, according to the attorneys. And look, even if he came back, people think he's going to be released and go back to no, he's going to be detained.
Yep.
And he's going to be removed as
Yep.
per the order of removal, either to El Salvador or another country. So this person has an order of removal. He's seen two different immigration judges, and he's been ordered deported. And that's exactly what happened.
So let me get this straight. You sneak into the country illegally. You were hanging around MS-13 gang members, violent gang members, and then you expect ICE to show up and show sympathy towards you. Like, come on, man. Has America gone soft that they're defending this man? There's people on your homeland, black, white, Hispanic, whatever race you want to call them, that are true Americans, right? True patriots that are locked up right now wrongfully. I don't see the senator flying to meet these people. They're down there locked up in Florida. I don't see him going down there. Let's look over your case. Let's see if we can get you out of here so you can go back to your family that lives in America, that pays taxes in America. But instead, this criminal, right? You guys want to fly all the way to El Salvador, do a one-on-one interview, take him from the jail, go out to eat with this criminal. I mean, come on, man. Like, what are we really doing? Has America really gone soft? Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments, please, because at some point hey, common sense. Common sense has to be shown because you can't sit there and treat your own people this bad and then expect people to rally up behind you and vote for you because they're all saying the same thing, man. Let's keep going.
I'm glad you brought that up because that withholding removal order essentially said the one place he can't go is El Salvador, where he's from. He claimed that he was concerned he could be persecuted if he was returned. Why not simply have him return to the U.S., detain him, and then deport him to a third country? Wouldn't that be in accordance with the law?
I think
That question right there just lets me know, man, these people are doing whatever they can to just mess up Trump's plans. It's not that they care about Kilmar. They're just like, at least bring him back and then deport him somewhere else. Just because Trump said we're going to send them to El Salvador. Just because Trump said I'm going to pay El Salvador $6 million to keep these illegals and these violent criminals. They're like, oh, that's not a good enough plan. Send them to Afghanistan. Send them somewhere else, some other third world country. Come on, man. That doesn't even make sense.
we're in accordance with
That
the law. I
doesn't.
mean, I'm not an attorney. I'm not DOJ fighting this case, but my opinion, and the years I spent doing this job, he is now designated a terrorist. The withholding orders is set aside. And we got to remember, the withholding order was issued years ago. Things have changed. El Salvador is one of the safest countries in the region because of the steps President Bukele take. You know, the gangs are no longer operating on the streets of Venezuela, in El Salvador. That's why he built that prison. So I don't think the gang danger that they once thought was there is even there anymore. So the situation has changed. It's much like temporary protection status, the TPS. That's only temporary. When the conditions in the country have changed, TPS can be ended and they can be removed to the country.
But why not make that argument in court? If you think that you can make the argument that he is fine to go back to El Salvador, why not just make that argument and try to terminate that order that said that the one place he couldn't go to was the one place that he was sent to?
Look, again, I'm not litigating this case to the DOJ. I think DOJ is continuing to litigate the case, but I think we're in a good stance. I think we're in a good place. Again, I'm not an attorney. I can just speak to my experience as a guy who enforces immigration law, but I think that DOJ has a strong case, and I think we're standing by what we did was the correct thing to do.
Has the Attorney General Pam Bondi, to your knowledge, attempted to revise that withholding removal order?
I have not spoken to Pam Bondi about this.
You mentioned the Justice Department. One thing that has been on my mind as we've been covering this is President Trump was in office in 2019 when an immigration judge granted this withholding removal status to Abrego Garcia. It was the Trump Justice Department then that decided not to appeal it or fight it. Do you believe that they should have here?
Well, the conditions of the country are different now than they were back then. Maybe the condition of the country is one that the withholding made sense. I mean, I wasn't familiar with the case back in the first administration, but a lot of things could have changed since then. The condition of the country could change, the ruling could change, the facts of the case could change. I'm not familiar on the investigation, the removal from back in the Trump 45, but I'm sure DOJ is well aware of it and they're litigating it as they seem appropriate.
But are they litigating it? Because what we heard from the Attorney General essentially the other day was that it's out of their hands to have him return to the United States, that it's up to the president of El Salvador.
Well, that's a question for Pam Bondi. The DOJ has their mission. I have my mission. That's a question for her.
But you are someone who's worked in immigration for decades, and you have a view here that you believe that this was the right move ultimately to have him sent here. But wouldn't the proper stance here essentially be to contest this in court, to try to terminate that order and then have him sent, and then you wouldn't be in the middle of this massive legal fight that is playing out over where the administration's right is here and whether or not they violated a court order?
I don't think they violated court order. I think we did the right thing, and I think it's been litigated by DOJ, and I'll let them fight that out in court or not fight out in court. But I think we did the right thing. As far as what we should do next in judicial process or litigation, I'll leave it up to DOJ. That's their job.
That just goes to show you, man, Trump's America and Trump's administration is so serious about their job. They don't really apologize for what they're doing. They just enforce the law even harder. So now the next person that gets caught, it's gonna look very, very bad for you. I want to know what you guys are thinking. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're new, and as always, let me know at the act 2. We're out.